Is there a problem, Mirror? Crap. Um. Alright. Beluga's going first. Okay, so Eren Yeager, after obtaining the Founding Titan, has access to nigh unlimited power. He is in control of all the aliens save for Levi and Mikasa. He also, curiously, has the Warhammer Titan, which he never uses. As I've said many times, he could have played the most difficult game of World War, though buried himself deep underground encased in this crystal, and even if they did find him in the 4 days, he would have been impossible to find. However, that's not really proof of anything, since Eren does have 3 to 10 wits after all. He could have simply foregoed the action. One could also say that Eren wanted to observe the rumbling for his own personal pleasure, which is also fair as well, since we see in 131. The main reason why I say that he planned to be stopped is simply because he kid-gloved them the entire time. Every single person that fought Eren not only was able to move, since he refused to take away their freedom, and you notice he didn't say to them in 133, he didn't say, I can't take away your freedom, I'm not able to, the founder's not letting me, it's still locked. He said, you guys are all free. And he didn't take away their memories as well. There's so many things that he could have done that he didn't do. Another thing is that he had them arrested beforehand. So obviously, Eren doesn't care about his friend's freedom as long as it fits into his particular goal. He will arrest Mikasa if he wants to. He'll say mean things to her if he wants to. And if he wants to get stopped by her, he will let her walk right into his mouth unharmed and slice up his head. Speaking of Mikasa walking right into his mouth, how did she know that he was in his mouth? Now, one could say it was a hunch, it was a guess, she deduced it, but I would make an argument that it was implied that Eren told her that he was in the mouth so that he can go up and kill her. This, along with what I said previously about having the Warhammer Titan, makes it clear to me that he simply didn't want it to be stopped. Also, take note that he left Peak and Gabby, two very powerful warriors around, one of them having a Titan in the first place. Now, one could say, well, he cared about his friend's freedom, which is, I already established, was ridiculous. But let's say he cared about his friend's freedom. He wouldn't take away their freedom or their memories. Okay, fine. He lets them walk free. Okay, then you say, well, what about the warriors? Well, he had connection with the warriors. Maybe let the warriors walk free too. Maybe he had some sort of affection towards them. And then Falco. Okay, he just met Falco, but he's a nice kid and he empathizes with him. Maybe he cares about Falco as well. But there's no way you can say that Eren in any way cared about Gabby and Peak. There's no way. Again, he did nothing to them. He didn't take away their memories. He didn't put them in a coma. He didn't even try to kill them effectively. He just tried to kid glove them and shove them off of him so that he could continue the rumbling or that he can get killed. Again, he never calls Gabby by her actual name throughout the entire series. He simply calls her the brat that killed Sasha. That is not a person who cares about her life or her freedom. Remember, this is a person who shot his head off as well. Not only did he kill his friend, he also shot his head off and Peak as well, pulled a gun on him and ambushed him. And there's no prior connection to that whatsoever. We can make an excuse so the cows come home about the rest of the people, but as specifically Peak and Gabby, who are not to be overlooked because they are very powerful warriors, there's absolutely no reason why Eren kept them around or didn't attempt to kill them, except for the fact that part of him at least, was okay with being stopped. With that, I'll see the rest of my time.
My internet found the bad faces.
The last 2 sentences. What do you...
Yeah, just like the last point, very quickly, if you can.
Okay. You can make excuses till the cows come home about his other friends, Falco, Mikasa, Connie, Jean, blah blah blah. But there is no way it can ever say Eren had any sort of affection or care whatsoever about Peak and Gabby specifically. And those two are not to be overlooked. They're not foot soldiers. They are extremely powerful people who almost killed Flock, shot Eren's head off, almost ruining the entire plan, and one of them has a Titan power and has demonstrated obvious intelligence. So they weren't simply overlooked. They were kept there on purpose and kept alive on purpose because obviously part of Eren was okay with being stopped. Link it in your rebuttal. So you will be.
So basically, just say why I don't disagree right now, right?
Yeah, say your position, and then in the rebuttal, that's when you debunk.
Okay, so our audience. And I think not just it doesn't really make much difference just because he doesn't personally know some of the people that he may later stop. He still travels around, he still sees them, he still understands their perspective. Therefore, he's able to emphasize with them and understand their perspective. But when you look at chapter 131, he questions is this the right thing? And then it all goes down to one thing. It doesn't really matter whether they might stop him or not. He just sees that paradise will be destroyed. This is the main factor that motivates him. Therefore, he says that he cannot accept this fate, and which is why he rumbles. Like I feel like that's how Eren is looking through this. And like some people may interfere, which is fine, I guess, to him, but that's all. I didn't see the story in every way that where he would say that I was trying to be stopped. Like when you look at chapter 133, where like he kind of contradicts himself, where he said that he won't bet on Paradise future, yet he does. I don't want to be that nitpicky guy and say, "Oh, this doesn't make sense. The story is badly written." I'll try to avoid doing those things. But when I look at the general intent, to me it seems that Eren doesn't intend to stop at all. Like he's gonna push forward, and his friends. Like he doesn't want to steal their freedom, as he says himself. And I think the general implication is that he can bring himself to stop them, not that he wants them to stop him. Like he's just gonna fight them, which is what we see happens. Like the ancient Titan battle, he fights them. Like when you see Ymir and Eren standing alongside, and they both look like slaves, doesn't this kind of imply that they're gonna fight? You're coming for them, and therefore they're both fighting. Like Ymir is not fighting for her own gain. Like she's basically following Eren's will. She's using Eren's like I don't know. Like when you mentioned something about Warhammer, I don't know what that has to do with anything. Like you can see in Ancient Titan battle that Ymir is kind of using that thing, I think, to summon the Titans. Uh, Regardless if it's Warhammer or not, it doesn't make much difference. Like it still is. They're still fighting, and like there's so many close instances where he's about to kill Mikasa, kill all these people, but like once again, not to be that guy and say, "Oh, this story doesn't make sense," and the plot armor, no one is injured or anything. It's a side delivery, but you can see that they're almost fucking dead. Like it was really close call. Like if they made one mistake, one slip of boom, they would be fucking dead. I feel like it's more or so just the determined thing that they won't die. That's all. And Aaron is just simply not that he wants part of him wants to be stopped. He just knows that eventually Mikasa will kill him. Therefore, he kind of goes along with it, and that's why he says those things in one thread about 80% plan, because he will be fucking killed anyway. Which just doesn't it doesn't really change anything. Eren can say that He doesn't even need to say 80% stuff, and the story would still go along with it because that's the only thing the Alliance can do at the moment. Because Eren is dead, like he left them with this world. Veteran said it doesn't change anything for me. It just shows me that, as Eren said himself, like you also think overlooked chapter 139 in the panel, where Eren basically was asked, "Did you really do this for us?" And he kinda doesn't say anything and walks away. That kinda implies that he didn't really do it for them as much as he wants to believe it that he did, I think. So yeah, that's what I see, how I see the story. I see that Eren is a selfish guy. He's messed up in the head. Something is wrong with him. But I've never seen where he deliberately wanted to be stopped. Where he, at least part of him, never seen that thing. Like not a single panel actually shows me that. Yeah, I want to be stopped. Whenever that was kind of implied, it was always meant to showcase that the reason he say this is because he knows it's gonna happen. That therefore he kinda maybe not necessarily compromises, but he will knows this is gonna happen, so he kinda goes along with it and says, "Yeah, I still killed 80% people." And he also says this: "If it weren't, for this Mikasa thing, I think I would still go all the way in." You know, so I kind of tells me that his priority is to go all the way in, regardless if his friends would come to stop or not. That's how I see the story. He just wasn't able to bring himself to, I guess, steal their freedom. That's all. And I think I'm done. Like, I guess you can rebuttal or whatever you want to go.
Did I say 5 minutes for rebuttals? That might be too short. But we'll see. Five-minute rebuttals. Hey, do you guys mind if we do 6.5 rebuttals instead?
Do whatever you want. I don't know.
Okay, 6.5 minutes. Mirror. Thank you. Okay, so the first point you brought up, which is the one we talked about earlier, is that he felt empathetic towards the Eldians. I'm glad you brought this up first because their arguments progressively get stronger. This is just I don't want to be disrespectful. This is just ridiculous. This is utterly insane. The people that he quote unquote empathizes with, he has no problem killing them later on than reveling in it twice. So no, the matter of their freedom or empathy, he's clearly not very empathetic when he's up in the clouds proclaiming how free he is, and he's certainly not empathetic in 130 when he's calling them animals and such. So I thoroughly reject the idea that he kept peeking Gabby. I assume this is about peeking Gabby. I thoroughly reject the idea that he respects the Eldians or he respects Peak or whatever like that. That is simply insane. He had no problem killing his own countrymen, and he had no problem killing Eldians outside the walls. I thoroughly reject that. You also said his motives were mainly to save parity, quoting 131, which, I mean, that may or may not be true. However, the fact of the matter that, again, if his main goal is protect parity, then how come he didn't have the Alliance arrested again? Or executed, even? He could have easily done that. They outnumbered them massively. Isn't that the whole Jaeger's thing, right? Isn't it numbers that is it a determining factor in victory? The Jaegers had them outnumbered by a large margin. They could have been arrested again. They could have been killed again. Eren could have killed them. Eren could have erased remembrance. Eren could have bit Mikas's leg off when she got into his mouth. How she knew who was in the mouth, we'll leave that up to interpretation. You can say whatever you want about that. But he was definitely motivated to save parity. I'm not contradicting that. It's just that if you're saying he's mainly motivated to save parity, well, then he'd do everything in his power to prevent that from happening. And again, I think it's pretty clear that his main motive was not to save parity, since he did not cross every I and dot every T. Same thing when you mentioned 139, which I thought was a pretty good argument as well, and you said that he'd still complete the rumbling. No contest there. I think he would still complete the rumbling. However, again, part of Eren, there's layers to him. That's what a complex, layered character is. There's different parts of him, just like any other human being. And part of him wanted the rumbling, and another part of him didn't want to kill his friends. And or you say he didn't want to take away his friend's freedom. So on the one hand, you're saying, okay, he didn't stop. He didn't let himself. He let himself get killed because he didn't want to take away his friend's freedom. But at the same time, he mainly cared about parody. Well, no, it's one or the other. Either he mainly cared about his friends, or he mainly cared about parody. So there's simply nothing else to say about that either. And as in regards again to his friend's freedom, as I brought up in my opening statement, he had no problem arresting them. He put them in jail. I mean, how else can you take away someone's freedom than to put them in prison? That's what he did. And this runs concurrently with the other point about the war, about the Battle of Heaven and Earth. He could have. I think we all agree he could have easily killed them. The man had hundreds of Titans at his disposal. He could have easily killed them if he wanted to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about them. He let them do whatever so that he could survive. And again, I'm going to keep asking this question until I get an answer, which we'll probably bring in the cross-ex. Why does he all of a sudden sympathize with Gabby? I would like to know. He never even calls her by name, as I said in my opening statement. So why is he respecting her freedom? Why is he letting her fire firearms? Why is he letting Peek turn to the cart? Now, one of the most interesting arguments that I heard that you said, it was that he knows Mikasa will kill him, and so he's kind of letting it happen. Okay, here's the thing about that. The future is set in stone on Attack on Titan. But the question is, who inscribes it? It's not fate that inscribes it, and that's very clear in the story. It's Aaron's own nature that causes the future to be set in stone. To simplify this very simply, it was set in stone today that I was not going to eat a mayonnaise sandwich. Why? My nature, I hate mayonnaise, and no one in my outside environment was going to force me to eat mayonnaise. Therefore, since the moment I woke up, the game was already over. I was not going to eat a mayonnaise sandwich. That's how determinism works. The future is set in stone for today. I am not going to eat a mayonnaise sandwich. But it is my nature and the circumstances that I'm in that inscribe it. If you're saying, oh, he knew Mikasa was going to kill in the future, so he's letting it happen, you're saying Eren is letting himself get killed. He's letting himself get killed simply because he does not want to hurt Mikasa, number one. And again, he wants to be stopped. And this is implied by what Reiner said in 133. He wants to be stopped. Again, what I just said about his friends and all that beforehand does not apply to Falco, Gabby, and Peek, and it certainly does not apply to the two last ladies that I said. And Volusius, if I rebutted our arguments, we should be good, but if I didn't, please feel free to say you didn't address this.
Okay. One sec. I noted down some stuff. Okay, I guess just tell me when I'm supposed to start.
Wait. Just did I answer? Did I skip over anything in your opening statement?
Wait. I don't think you most skipped anything on C. I don't think you skipped anything. You mostly addressed my points. Some of them were like 50-50, but most of them I don't agree with at all. So
okay,
we can
we'll get into that in the cross-ex. You can ask the questions first if you would like. That's 15 minutes, Mirror.
So now I'm just like debunking, like the rebuttal, alright?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So I think in opening statement you mentioned the founding Titans' unlimited power. I don't want to theorize that much because theorizing is not really proving much, but like we don't know how much Eren can control. Can he actually disable the Titans? If that were the case, then the Great Titan War would not happen because the Titans would have been disabled long time ago, and the whole story would be different. I'm pretty sure the Founding Titan can disable the hardening powers or stuff related to such things, but he cannot, I think, actually disable the Titan powers. He cannot control the Titans and make them, the shifters. I don't think he can make them forget stuff. I don't think he can disable their powers. If that were to happen, the whole story would be a lot different, and I don't think Isama would retcon his story in such a way. So I think that's impossible. Maybe Eren was bluffing to an extent that he can stop his friends. I think he can stop the hardening. I think he can manipulate John and Connie. but I don't think the Titan shifters can be manipulated. And that's it. Regarding founding Titan power, I think it's kind of meaningless to argue and theorize because the whole story would be a lot different if we were to do that. Uh, the rumbling. Now I'm gonna go to stuff that you mentioned, emphasizing, killing that moment. I don't understand the problem here. I think this is generally misunderstanding chapter 131 because Aaron was able to sympathize with his enemies, but he understood one thing. These people are innocent. Not every single person deserves to die there, but he simply has to do what has to be done. This has been mentioned many times in many literatures, many fictional works, even in real life, where you look at real soldiers where they do their duty and their duty comes first. They might bring up killing civilians and they might have traumas, PTSDs from doing those things, but that's what it really is. They have to do their duties, even if that is immoral and unjustified act. This happens. War crimes always happens. This shit always happens. I don't know how hard it is to grasp that concept that you're able to emphasize with your enemies or even innocent people, and you still have to do your duty. You still have to kill them. I don't understand how is that impossible to grasp. The best way to look at this is that Ramsey himself, he cared about him. He apologized to him. He even said, I'm sorry. He wanted to be even kind of judged by someone, right? That's why he kept apologizing to the person that's gonna kill in the future. So if that doesn't mean that, if that doesn't tell you that he cared about his victims, I don't know what does. It's just, it's kind of baffling to me to imply that he didn't care about these people. He cared. The freedom that he steals, that doesn't change that he cares about them. He definitely did care. He definitely, if that's why I'm bringing chapter 141. The main point was brought up that they weren't able to find a different answer. That was the main point where Aaron had to, start doing things differently. If they were able to find different answer, let's say they were able to make 50-year plan work, I guarantee you Aaron would not rumble. That's why he says that, oh, so they weren't able to find different answer. That's why he was so fucking depressed. Because he's hating himself. He's gonna kill these people that did nothing wrong. So that kind of tells you that he cared. That's why he was able to sympathize with aliens such as Gabin Peak. I don't know how. I don't know. I don't think they need a personal connection to understand it, to say that he understands their position and why they're fighting, or why they do the things they do. He understands. That's more than enough for me to say, yeah, he cares about them enough. Like he had his father's memories. He understands the position of Eldians. He knows what they go through. He knows how much they fight for freedom as well. So to say that he didn't care about Peak and Gabi is ridiculous to me. He doesn't need personal connection to understand them as people. That's all. That's all. So to me, it's kind of dumb, in my opinion. Now you mentioned the main goal: protect Paradise, and why not execute the people? Like I guess Gabby Peak. I don't know why he has to. Like he's so powerful at this point that he doesn't go need to. I don't know how he would even be able to kill Peak. She's a Titan shifter. He could manipulate Gabby, but at the same point, she's a child. What does it change? Like I don't understand what that would change. Like he knows the future that she will kill Flock. Okay, sure, but she's not the one that will stop Eren. Mikasa is the one. And then you mentioned determinism, which is interesting point. I think there's a misunderstanding how determinism works from your perspective. Wait, how much time do I have now? Let's see. I have 3 minutes. Okay, that's good. Determinism is basically it doesn't. Determinism does not work that way that you see Mikasa is gonna kill Eren. It works because Eren is gonna take a certain action, therefore it's gonna be stopped. Determinism is based on your own nature and choices. So basically, Eren cannot determine his friend's fate. He cannot determine what Mikasa will do. What determines what Mikasa will do is based what Eren is choosing to do. So basically, if he chooses to rumble, uh, Mikasa will be the one to stop him. That is an action that he takes, and the consequence is determined that Mikasa will stop him. Not because he wants that to happen, not because he tries to be stopped, but because he takes that certain action. That's why it happens. The only counter argument here that can actually work is that Mikasa. The reason why Mikasa stops Eren and why he might, try to be stopped is because this type is a Titan curse. There's the only logical argument to this. There's no other logical explanation. The same way that you mentioned that the fucking ancient Titan battle where everyone is immortal. No, dude, he's not trying to make them live. He throws the rocks at 134, you know? Those rocks conveniently doesn't hit anyone, okay? And once again, I don't want to be that guy and say, oh, Islam is a shit storyteller, but there's undeniable plot armor there. You throw rocks at people and no one was harmed. That is impossible. That shouldn't happen. That is just basically the time of writing the story where it shows that they're that good as warriors, not because Eren is not trying to kill them, but because they're just that good as warriors. That's how it works. That's not determinism in a way. It's just like that's why I'm saying you misunderstand with determinism. Determinism is it doesn't change that much for the story as you think it does. People are still gonna act based on what they think is right, and they're still gonna make the choices. Determinism does not will not change their immortality. They're not gonna suddenly become immortal through fucking rocks. The reason why they don't die and they had so many close calls not dying is because there's a bit of plot armor. I think it's undeniable. That's the problem with the writer. He wasn't able to show their skill set without looking a bit ridiculous. That was the problem. Let's see what else did she bring up. Arresting. Okay, so he didn't have problems arresting people, and I think the main reason why he didn't have problems arresting his friends is because while they're in prison cell, they're not gonna get harmed because there's more important matters to focus on. I don't think he wants them to be executed. I don't think he wants Mikasa, Armin, or Johnny to be executed. He just imprisons them for the time being until things are done. And you have to remember that before getting into paths, with the founding Titan powers, no, he doesn't know his full future. Okay, so that's why he makes some choices that at that moment he has like glimpses of the future members. He doesn't know the whole big picture, as far as I'm aware. He may know that Mikasa will kill him based on like 139, where he said that he received some memories when he kissed Historia's hand. I think, but it's really hard to tell how much did he know and how much he did not know. So I don't want to go the whole rabbit hole. But to me, it doesn't change much. At the end of the day, it keeps them safe. It takes their freedom, sure, but the things would have been bloody. And you can imprison your enemies, you don't have to execute them. That's what I'm saying. So I think I pretty much mentioned everything. I'm done.
All right, cool. Thank you. So do you want 15 minutes for Lucius to ask me questions? The way this works, for those of you who don't know, is one person asks questions, other person has to answer. It is up to the moderator to decide if the questions are bad or not. This shouldn't be a problem, but just to make sure that no debater tries to get out of answering a question, the moderator should step in and say, hey, this is actually a good question, that it's levied in good faith, yada, yada, yada. So with that, we should begin the timer. So again, this goes one way. Volusius will be asking me questions that I will answer, and I'll answer only. He will be the only one asking questions until it's my turn.
So I'm asking first. Okay. One question I have is, I guess Warhammer's Titan. Can you explain me why it does matter in the last battle? What does it change?
Okay, maybe I was speaking too fast, but the reason why I brought the Warhammer Titan is simply it's the weakest piece of evidence I have, and I always bring the weakest piece of evidence first. What I was basically saying was, Eren could have made this. Eren could have had the best of both worlds. He could have kept his friend's freedom, and he could have completed the rumbling by burying himself in a random location encased in the crystal the Warhammer Titan had. Which is why I also brought up 3 out of 10 wits, because it's not really something you can prove, because it's just something he didn't do. But I just wanted to throw that in there to get people thinking, like, hey, that's a good idea. Why didn't he use a Warhammer Titan?
I don't know. Okay, I'm not supposed to answer. You just ask questions, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see then. Okay, can you describe in detail the founding Titan, why it's unlimited? Because I mentioned that.
Okay.
If it was such a case, then he would have, like, the whole Great Titan War would have been a lot different.
Well, okay. Well, I said, first off, I said nigh unlimited, number one. And number two, again, this is... pretty sure this would be begging the question, right? Yeah. What you're basically saying is, okay, so Founding Titan has unlimited power. If he had unlimited power, he would have killed them. because you're assuming that your presupposition is correct. If you're coming from my presupposition saying Aaron kid gloved them and he severely diminished the power of the founding, or he severely withheld the power of the founding Titan, then he let them survive. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying his power is very, he has a lot of power, and he and his friends all come out practically unscathed, and he could have easily killed them on multiple occasions and taken away their freedom or their memories and yada yada yada. So that's why I brought that up.
I see. Okay. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna ask a bigger question, like empathy. So why do you think he was not able to empathize with his enemies, and like even feel bad for them?
I think he was able to empathize with them.
But you didn't say that.
I said it's inane to say that he left Peak and Gabby and Falco around because he empathized with them, because he had no problem killing people and reveling in them in it twice.
Okay, but wouldn't you get that's certainly one of the reasons, right? Like, I'm pretty sure he was able to empathize with them.
Yeah, but he killed them after, and then reveled in it twice.
If he didn't kill Peak or Gabby, they're alive. What do you mean?
That's my point. Yeah. He's that's what I'm saying. He's not leaving them alive because he empathizes with them. He had no problem killing people who were nice to him.
So my question will be then, like,
hold on a second.
Just because if someone stays alive, does it change that he emphasizes with them or not? Like, does it really prove that just because they're alive that they he does not care about them?
To me, yeah, because here's the wait. Hold on. Guess it again. Maybe I think I misunderstood what you said. Can you guess that again?
No, basically, just because they're alive, that doesn't really prove it that he does not care about them at all.
It's not about at all or anything. I'm saying when he was with he had. I probably shouldn't say no problems. Probably was confusing people. He killed people who were nice to him. Because as you said, he needed to do the rumbling. He needed to protect his country. Okay, fine. And he killed people who were nice to him. Peak threatened to shoot him, ambushed him. Gabby shot him in the head. She shot Flock. He leaves those people alive. He doesn't have them executed. Doesn't even have them in prison. Doesn't take away their freedom. Doesn't do anything like that. He lets them run amok and do whatever they want. But he kills people who are nice to him. That to me says.
Oh, I see this kind of okay.
Yeah, that to me says okay. He clearly was ordaining them for some certain purpose. And again, I didn't bring this up in my opening statement, but why did he? I can't ask that. Go ahead. You may ask a question. I was just gonna ask you a question. I stopped myself. It happens all the time.
Yeah, I know. I just noted that down because I'll probably later bring it up.
Okay.
Looking at my notes, what I should ask.
You took notes. See, I told you he was good.
Okay, so his main motive, according to you, is not to save Paradise, but to get himself killed, I guess, to end the Titan curse. Did I get it correctly before asking, right?
I am not saying that. I'm saying it's clear his main goal wasn't Paradise, since he didn't kill his friends. If his main goal is Paradise,
so his main goal is not Paradise. That's what you're saying. Yeah,
obviously.
Would you explain me why it's not the case?
Because if his main goal was Paradise, he would have had at least, at the very least, he would have had all those people in jail, all of them.
Okay, but can characters make mistakes or flaws in their judgment?
Flaws in their judgment?
Yeah. Like, don't you think that Eren is a bit of
Volusius,
contradictory as a character?
No, I don't think he's contradictory. I think he's layered. But Volusius, Mikasa Ackerman, Levi Ackerman, 4 or 5 Titan shifters, and that's just whoopsie! Didn't see that coming.
I don't think he
that's
can
ridiculous.
Do anything regarding Ackerman's or Titan
He can
shifters.
put them in jail, which he already did.
Okay.
So I don't think it was a whoops! I didn't see that coming. I think he purposely left them around because he prioritized their free. At the very least, he prioritized their freedom over Parody. Because if he would really care about Parody, he would know what Flock would do. What do you think Flock wanted to happen to those people? I can ask that.
Yeah, I just noted that down. I'll answer it later.
But I'll say this: Flock would have at least had them all in jail. He probably would have killed them. He would have at least had them all in jail. Why? Because Flock cared about the island more than anything else. Aaron,
No, he still tears them in before 1J, but yeah, sure.
what's that?
No, I'm just saying you misunderstood one thing, but I'll answer that later.
Aaron, at the very least, cares about their freedom more than Parody, since he does not, since he does not tie up that loose end, and those are extremely dangerous people.
Okay, now, I guess the last question I have is regarding determinism. Do you disagree in the way I explained determinism, or do you think that
No.
there's something I don't understand in determinism?
don't-
Can you elaborate further on that?
I don't know why you brought up determinism in your rebuttal, since it appears like we agree on determinism. I don't know what that
No,
was about.
I brought up the determinism because you mentioned that it was one of the points that makes the story happen the way it does, and I kind of explained that determinism is not some voodoo magic where everything is determined. It's just
yeah.
based on choices that characters make. That's what is determined.
100% agree. 100% agree.
That's what I'm saying. Like I was saying that because killing Eren is not determined. It's just determined that if Eren takes that action to Rumble, then it's gonna be that Mikasa's gonna kill Eren. Like if he were not to take this action, like he wouldn't like do something differently. It could have been different. That's what I'm saying. Determinism is not that big of a thing as people want trying to make it out. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't.
So
the thing, I don't
agree
understand
that,
what the
like-
disagreement is because we agree on this one. I don't understand why.
Okay, then fair enough. Then I don't have no further questions. I think at least for now.
Okay. 15 minutes. Mirror. Mirror. No, your stream cut out.
On the stream because I.
Yep, it stopped responding. Remember Rod, Infamous? He was a pretty good moderator.
It's working. I see now.
Yeah, I can see it now. Okay, Volusius. So, Eren, according to you, Eren wants to rumble Parody. Wants to rumble to protect Parody.
Whoa, boy, there's something.
Wants to
sorry, go on.
wants to rumble to protect Parody, and he, even though he feels sad about it, or sad about killing certain people, he will still do it to protect his country. Is that correct so far?
Yeah, there's
Okay.
no issues with that statement.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna need you to explain to me why he kills people who are nice to him to achieve his goal, but he doesn't kill people who drew weapons on him and shot his head off.
Because he's way too powerful to care about those things. I think that's the main point.
He's way
He
too.
doesn't want to interfere.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's way too
So-
powerful. Like he doesn't give a shit.
So he didn't give a shit. He
Plus,
just-
his mind could be affected by the Mikasa thing, so he maybe
so what?
find the whole thing meaningless. I also think there's one thing that you misunderstood about the film panel as well.
Okay, so he just too powerful to care about this Titan shift and about this lady with aimbot.
Yeah.
Why
like,
does he-
Like yeah, there's also the point that he, as I mentioned before, he just can't bring himself to stop his friends, and like I guess Pete and Gabi is technically not one of the friends, but they're still with his friends. And he still is able to empathize with them. That's why I feel like he doesn't have that big of a problem is to stop them, because at the end of the day, he's too powerful.
Okay, so he's too powerful.
And maybe there's another.
Why?
Maybe I didn't bring this up, but I guess one of the other reasons could be that he is a bit looking at chapter 131. Like you know that freedom panel, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see the kid Eren in the clouds. He's coping basically, okay? Because when you see the adult Eren, his eyes are closed. He doesn't want to look. He seems like depressed and almost losing hope. Whilst the kid Eren is kind of trying to recall his. What if he was a kid Eren? Maybe
this kid Aaron would find meaning in all of this. But even his kid Aaron, when he looks at the clouds, just for a moment he thinks that he's enjoying that. But right next panel, we show that his eyes are there. Like it's like back in like when he was just a kid, where he didn't find this thing called freedom. So basically, how I see this is that he finds all of this meaningless. But he still does what he has to do, even though he kind of doesn't know what the fuck he's doing that for anymore. He just lost meaning in all of this. That's how I see that.
Okay.
And that's why I kind of feel like he doesn't bother to stop the people, because he's way too powerful and he finds it meaningless, and there's other things like empathy and his friends. That's all.
Okay, so he's too powerful to care about Peek and Gabby, but he cares about these refugees living in tents. Why is that?
Refugees? What do you mean? Like,
well, he kills them
Ramsey?
To protect his country.
Ramsey? Like Ramsey's people?
Yeah, he kills them. Why is he concerned with a one-handed pickpocket, but he's not concerned with
Because he got to know him. Like, he cares about him, but he still has to do one thing. Like, what's the problem with that statement? I don't understand.
Let me ask this again.
Like, what's the question?
I'm gonna ask this question again. Peek, as I'm sure everyone knows, is an intelligent Titan shifter, and she's an intelligent woman, and she's a Titan shifter, so that makes her dangerous. Gabby has aimbot and shot his head off, almost ruining the entire plan, mind you. You say he's too powerful to care about those people. Okay, maybe so. But why does he feel the need to kill a one-handed pickpocket and not to at least imprison those two?
I think if Ramsey could have been in Paradise, he would, be safe. But because he was not on Paradise Island, and he was one of the people, he's not gonna make one Titan order to stop Ramsey. There's just way too many people. I don't think he's gonna concern himself with those things. He still cares about Ramsey. He still feels bad about it, but he has to do that. That's all.
Yeah, but why does he?
It's just unfortunate place where he was born. That's all. I think.
Okay. Why? I'm asking.
He's not I don't think he's that powerful to make Ramsey live.
Yeah, no. I'm not disputing him killing Ramsey. What I'm saying is, I don't have a problem with him killing Ramsey in this particular context. What I'm saying is, he kills a one-handed pickpocket to save his country, right? Which as a Jaegerist, that's still fair play for me. But listen, he doesn't kill Gabby and Peek. So what I'm saying is, why is he more concerned about what this one-handed pickpocket can do, what this refugee camp can do to his country, and he's not concerned with Gabby and Peek? Why doesn't he at least put them in jail? At the very least, why does he let those people?
They were originally in jail. I don't know, but they got out.
But they got out, and then what? Did Eren send them back where they came from? Did he attempt to stop that threat at all, or did he let them completely run amok?
Why is that a threat? What they're gonna do? There's so many ancient titans. What they're gonna do?
Just ask me why Gabby's a threat? Because he shot his head off and almost ruined their plans, and he killed Flock. And she killed Flock.
Yeah, but he cannot manipulate Yelena to get them out of prison, can he?
Yeah, he can ask Flock. Flock to take her at least.
Does he know by that moment? By that moment, does he know that Yelena will set him free?
My brother, he was at the table with her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they got arrested. He had no problem arresting her that time. Why didn't he just do it again? And you said yourself that hold on. You said yourself that that he knew she killed Flock. So that means that he knows she escaped from jail. How come he let that happen? But he killed Ramsey.
Once again, do you mean that Eren, before getting into the PAPs, does he really know that Flock is gonna die by Gabby by that time or not?
Well, you said that. I'm just saying what you said.
No, I didn't say that. Where did they say that? Can you repeat that, please? Where did they say that he knew exactly that
you said
Gabby will kill Flock?
Well, hey, I never said that. I just am repeating what you said. You said he knew she killed Flock, which is that she escaped from prison.
No, I didn't mean it that way. Maybe you misunderstood. I'm saying that I didn't say that Eren knew. I'm just saying that even if she kills Flock, it doesn't change anything. I don't think Eren by that time, when he didn't reach PAPS, he knew about this, that Flock will die. Maybe he did, maybe. I can't confirm this. There was not a single memory shared before PAPS that confirms this.
Okay, fine. And
in a way, I guess it doesn't matter, because
he knows
once he reaches PAPS, Gabby is still alive. Maybe he can control her or something, but I I don't see what's the point for him to do that. Does
Okay.
he care about Flock that much?
Okay. Let's. I'm just trying to get you to answer this one question. Listen, and again, I think you admitted. I'm pretty sure you admitted just now that he knew that she was free because of 133 when he brought them to paths. Listen,
He knew that they were set free, like during the battle, like in like
He knew
Shibanshina,
before- he
like
knew
when
before-
the Ryan and others, I think.
yeah. Listen, you said
maybe he didn't,
he
I don't know.
empathized with Ramsey, but he killed him anyway to accomplish his goals. Okay, perfect. We're all Jaegers here. We all agree with that. Whatever. Here's the problem. Why didn't he kill Gabby and Peak?
Because it's a plot mistake. Like,
It's a plot mistake.
The whole.
It's a plot mistake. That's begging the question. No, that's begging the question because
This partly is, but no, I have my reasons. But I think I said I didn't want to go this rabbit hole. But at the end of the day,
Lucius.
there is contradictions with Aaron. Okay?
Lucius. Is there a contradiction?
Is that
Okay,
hard to
let me
grasp?
ask you this question: is it a contradict? If my presupposition is right, is there a contradiction?
What?
If my presupposition is correct, is there a contradiction?
Your proposition, what exactly is it? Again?
Presupposition. I'm saying part of Aaron was okay with being stopped. So, if that is true, is there a contradiction? No? You said no?
That is not true. I
Okay.
don't believe that anyone
Hold
can
on.
stop.
Hold on. Stop assuming that I am correct. Is there a contradiction?
Yes.
Where's the contradiction?
Wait a minute. So your point is that Aaron wants to be stopped, therefore he doesn't stop them, right?
Okay.
But he is
Just-
still trying to kill them
just
actively
answer my
in
question.
Ancient Titan battle.
Just
He
answer-
throws rocks at them. Himekase is almost not dead. Levi is fucking bitten his leg off. John and Komi almost didn't die. Reiner almost didn't die. That is a contradiction. If he tried to be stopped, he wouldn't fight Armin 138 with the Colossal Titan shit. He purposely fighted them. That is why it doesn't make sense. What is so hard to understand?
Because, as I
We
said,
either agree that Isayama was a shit storyteller at the last arc, or your point is also inconsistent. Once again, we can both be inconsistent because there's a flaws in the storytelling, which is the problem as well. We don't know how much of it is intentional and how much of it is not. We can both probably agree that Eren is a bit of a contradictory character. His head is, at the end of the day, is a bit messed up, right? We can both agree.
mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, we cannot agree to an extent how much of it was intentional and how much of it was just a mistake from Isayama's part.
Okay.
Can we agree on that? I think that's the most logical conclusion.
Can we agree on that? First, I'll answer that later, but you're supposed to answer questions, but hold on a second.
So basically, I
here's
guess
how...
answer that thing.
Hold on.
Okay,
Here's
sure,
how it's not a contradiction. Okay?
Mhm.
Number one, he didn't kill any of them. As I said, if he was wanting to kid glove them, that's exactly what he
It
did.
doesn't matter.
Number one. He wanted to just delay it so that the Roman link could be completed. Number two, he said he got into the act. So we have Aaron saying he got way too into the act in 139, and we have them surviving as sort of indirect proof that they are that he's just trying to he's just trying to kid glove them essentially. So I feel like there is no contradiction there if you assume my presupposition.
There is.
Okay, please tell me.
I already said the ancient Titan tattoo. Why did he try to kill them all?
I just told
Was
you.
he just aiming with the rocks? Like, was he aiming randomly, not at them? Like, he was aiming directly at them.
I already
None
told
of them
you.
were injured, but he was trying to kill them. Was it not?
No, he was not trying to kill them. He was not trying
Yes,
to
he
kill
was.
them.
Then show me how
You know
the fuck the rocks were not aiming directly at those people. Explain.
You know how I know he was not trying to kill them? You know how I know?
Mhm.
Okay. He said he wanted them to live long, happy lives. Number one. That should be the end of that conversation.
That doesn't answer my question.
Number
how
two,
they're able to survive the rocks
hey.
directly thrown at them?
Hey,
You answer that. Answer this me without answering that it was plot armor. Answer that. You can't.
armor.
That's the problem.
no,
you can't.
I can. Listen.
Okay,
I'm telling
then
you,
answer me.
he
How
wasn't
did they
trying to kill
survive
them.
The rocks, when they were thrown directly at them,
What do you mean?
were they lucky or was it intentional? And if it was
It was
intentional,
intentional.
explain me.
I hold on. I'm explaining why it's intentional. It's intentional because again,
Mm-hmm.
3 reasons. Aaron said he wanted them to live long, happy lives. Number one.
Mhm.
Number two, He said he got too much into the act in 139. So there's a reason why he acts out of character there. And then what's the third thing I forgot? No,
he doesn't act out of character.
And number three, they survive in the end. They survive in the end, which indirectly, albeit indirectly, proves that, again, he wanted them to survive. Now, please answer this question.
I mean, yes, he
those three combined. No, Volusius.
That is correct.
Those three combined.
But it doesn't explain why the fuck rocks were directly aimed at them and none of them were harmed. Was this just pure luck then?
I mean, listen. Whether
it's
pure luck,
he was trying to kill
whether
them.
it's
You
pure. I can't.
Was.
Okay, he want them to live long, happy lives. My gosh. Anyway. No.
I don't care what he said. I literally see the rocks thrown at them.
Yeah, and they survive.
To kill them.
And they survive. And they survive.
It doesn't matter. They survive. The intent is to kill them.
You just made that up. But anyway, hold on. I didn't. I
see rocks thrown at them. Like, open up chapter 134 and look at
your intent. You're assuming his intent. You're assuming his intent.
Can you not tell me that
you're assuming. Yeah, because he said he wanted to live long. Yes, you're assuming his intent. But hold on a second.
I'm not assuming. I literally seen it myself with my own eyes. It's literally like saying, I go to America, right? I see a kid being shot at. The bullet missed, but I can see that he was aiming at that fucking kid, and I'm supposed to think, he wasn't trying to kill him. He just missed.
No, of course not.
Luck.
The problem
Maybe
is that
he missed.
The problem is that the guy didn't say beforehand he wanted them to live long, happy lives. Okay, but hold on a second.
Okay, so basically you're arguing about determinism. The determinism makes people survive by pure luck with rocks or not. Is that what you're trying to say to me?
No, I'm saying his intent wasn't to kill them. But hold on a second. Using my presupposition and not informing and not assuming his intentions, there is no contradiction with my line of reasoning. You cannot say.
No, dude. Look.
Listen, you're saying, it's plot armor. It's not plot armor that it survived. It's intentional, and you're only saying it's plot armor because you have your presupposition.
Okay, then show me 134 panel where they're also thrown on them, and tell me how they did not survive by pure luck, or in other words, plot armor. Show me, explain me exactly how it happened.
Explain what now?
Was he directly? Intentionally aiming with those rocks just not to harm them, but also throwing directly at them. Explain me how that works. I don't understand this logic.
Hold on, stop now.
Okay.
You guys are refuting each other right now, and that's not what you're supposed to be doing. You're just supposed to be asking.
We can go to that part already. I feel like we already asked the questions we wanted.
Good catch. Good catch. We got way too into that.
My stream, my computer froze for a couple seconds, so I couldn't say earlier.
Yeah, you see that, Volusius? We got into the act. Remind you of someone?
Okay. Also look at general chat. Infamous, I just posted. The next time we will meet, we will be trying to kill one another. So is there a line here? When he's being honest with Armin. You cannot tell me that he did not try to kill them. He did. Therefore, your point also is kinda doesn't make sense. I'm perfectly fine to say that my point doesn't make much sense because I believe that the last arc was badly written. Therefore, there is inevitable that your point won't make sense since the story itself doesn't make sense, and you need to have a bit of a headcanon area. I'm fine to admit that my point may not make sense, but that's how the story was written. I cannot change that about his time of storytelling. That's the problem.
Okay.
But once again, look at what is supposed. Don't. How you're gonna explain that he did not try to kill them? He said it himself. I don't know.
Are you gonna take that literally? Do you not know what subtext is? Okay. Well, okay. So hold on a second. When you said
subtext excuse. Okay, sure. Go on and say it.
That's ridiculous. It's like when Armin says, "Think of a committed mass murder." He. Come on.
So Aaron is not being honest here, right? So he's not being honest.
He's implying that they'll be
fine. He's acting.
He's not acting. You're saying that they'll be just fine.
So is he being honest or not?
I think Armin. I mean, is he literally being honest? No, he's not literally conveying. His words are not literally conveying what he's trying to convey.
Okay, then explain to me what he said that he was born that way.
What are you talking about?
And he will
What the
always
fuck?
fight for that
Where
freedom.
what are we talking about now? I thought we were talking about the panel with Armin.
No, let me. Okay,
He was
I'll
born that way?
summarize the
What are you
point.
talking about,
But
bro?
isn't Aaron's nature to fight for the freedom, right? In a sense, like that's what he always was the person. Like as I said in like 120 or 121, he said that he was always that way. He was always fight. When he saved Mikasa from those like fucking slave traders, right?
about
So
What about it?
I'm pretty sure that's what he means in 139, where he says that he was born that way to fight the people. And that's why he says that the next time they'll meet Eren, he will be fighting them because that's what he is as a person. Don't you think that's the implication? Therefore, it means that he was trying to kill them.
No, he wasn't trying to kill them. As I already said,
Okay, sure.
I mean, listen. He said, okay. He
This
said
is a cult thing, man. I'm sorry, I don't want
it's
to be
not
rude,
a
but
cult.
this is a cult.
That's ridiculous.
Okay,
the
sure.
intention is clear. He said three
Okay, I will
times.
listen. Okay,
He
I will
said
stop interrupting. I will listen. Okay.
times that I believe it was 3 times. He wanted them to live long, happy lives. This is just ridiculous. All Aaron was trying to convey is that they were going to be fighting each other. That's insane. Yes, the literal. This is a story. Okay, subtext happens all the time. You can't say, "Oh, it's a subtext cope." There's subtext in stories. There is subtext.
I'm well aware of what subtext is.
Okay,
but
so
I'm
it's not a
saying
cope.
that
I can
there is a
validly.
reason how to apply that.
Okay, that is a perfectly valid way to apply it. If you admit that there's subtext in stories, then I can rightfully invoke that, and this seems to be an extremely appropriate situation to invoke that, especially since.
But the thing about subtext is that people can misunderstand it. Don't you think?
Oh yeah, I understand people can misunderstand it. That's I
Okay,
fully
sure.
admit that. The problem is that again, this man says 3 times he wants them to live long, happy lives in his head and out loud. That's why.
Okay, sure.
That's why I don't think I'm mistaken
If
it
you
there.
guys, if you
But
guys are,
don't you
if
think
you
that
guys
two
are gonna
desires can
get
be
on
coexistent
another,
together?
if you guys are gonna get on another argumentative point, then we're gonna have to stick with the time stuff.
You know what, Mira, you're right. I don't know what the hell we're doing right now.
Okay, let's just go to the closing
Let's
statements.
go to our closing
fine.
statements.
Like
and then
we already went over before the debate how this would turn out to be endless.
Yeah.
Okay,
All
give
right,
us the
so,
closing statements and we'll do the Q&A.
let's see.
20-minute Q&A after this.
Sure.
You said closing statements.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we can go to that because
Closing
we pretty much
statements.
discussed everything we can. We're gonna go in circles at this point.
Yeah, closing statements and then 20-minute
All right, I'll give
Q&A.
you 2 minutes.
2 minutes? What the
Okay, Beluga, I give you the honor to
Five
since I was
minutes.
interrupting
Yeah,
you.
2
I'm sorry
minutes.
about that.
Yeah,
2
it's
minutes for
okay.
a closing statement.
Oh, what you mean to tell me that you meant not to interrupt me, but then when you got into it, you started interrupting me anyway, even though your intention was different? Interesting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Interesting.
Okay, I'm a human being
Interesting.
with flaws. Okay.
That's interesting. Where have I seen that before?
Now that happens. Okay, I'm just saying when I hear
Whoa,
such a big
whoa,
hope,
wait,
to me,
hey,
at least
I
in
thought-
my perspective, the big hope, I have
No,
to
you're
say
good.
no. Come on,
You're good, bro.
Just stop capping. You're just
You're
capping.
good.
Okay.
You're good. I'm not capping.
Okay, sure, whatever. I'm sorry about that. I'm a human being. I make mistakes. Okay.
All right, Velocious, you can do your closing statement now.
Nah. I interrupted. Let him do that first. I'll just chill.
I appreciate
Alright.
it. Thank you. Okay. I said 5 minutes. Mirror?
Dude, for a closing statement, that's so long.
And it doesn't need 2 minutes. I mean, if he wants, I can do mine 2 minutes. If he wants 5, just let him.
We
That's no problem with me.
had this format settled beforehand, and I do not remember putting down 2 minutes.
I mean, to be honest, it wasn't that planned out. We just kind of decided to plan it out as we started debating. So that's kind of our both problem. We should have done it before in the hand.
No.
Okay.
10-minute closing statement. That's what I had. 10-minute closing statement. 2 minutes. Trying to.
Why is your closing statement so long?
Do you watch debates?
If he wants to, I have free time. If he wants to just let him go, I don't care. Mine can be 2 minutes. That's enough.
Okay. Alright, starting. Okay. So, my point is simple. There are steps that Eren could have taken lots of them, that he did not take, that were very curious and somewhat contradictory until you realize that he took those steps on purpose because he part of himself was at the very least okay with being stopped. If you want to think about it in another way, think about what would Flock do in this situation. Would Flock, if he had the Founding Titan, let all these people run amok? Okay, well, let's assume for a second that he can't control the Titan Shifters. He can certainly imprison Mikasa. They can certainly have them executed. There's a whole bunch of steps that could have been taken that weren't taken. And again, the infamous Battle of Heaven and Earth, Eren has all hundreds of Titans at his disposal. He has a Founding Titan. He against a handful of people. He could easily have killed them. He didn't. He toyed around with them. He pushed them off. Essentially, this is inferred, but it appears as if he's doing this just so that he could finish the rumbling, because ideally his friends could be free and he could finish the rumbling. As he says in 139, even if they didn't stop him, he would have completed the rumbling. So, that's inferred. However, it's very obvious that even if foregoing all these leaps of logic you have to use, once you get to the Battle of Heaven and Earth, he has them dead to rights. And the only answer to this is to say, well, it's plot armor. But assuming my presupposition, that being that part of Eren was at least okay with being stopped, then the picture becomes clear. Now we understand why he frees Annie when he does not have to do that. Now we understand why he keeps Falco, Gabby, and Peak around, even though that is 2 Titan Shifters and a very skilled rifleman. Now, to be fair, it was brought up that Eren takes somewhat contradictory actions. He throws rocks at them. He says he wants to kill them, blah, 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 blah. As I said prior, he said he wanted them to live long, happy lives. They survived, and again, if he acts incoherently at points, he already informed us as to why. He said he got too much into the act. His intention remains the same, regardless of if he acts incoherently or not. Again, pay attention to what I just said. This is not a cop-out. He wants them to live long, happy lives, and he said when he was punching Armin and stuff, he got too much into it. But his intention, we know from 139, his intention was still the same. He wanted to push his friends away from him. Now, interestingly enough, and this happens quite often with my opponents, my opponent said, well, I'm willing to admit that this doesn't, that what I'm saying doesn't make any sense because of how Isayama wrote it. Well, that's your problem. I never said that. I think how Isayama wrote it is perfectly consistent with my worldview. I don't know why it's not consistent with your worldview. Hopefully in the Q&A we can clear up some more loose ends, but as far as I see it, Volusius is right. If you take his presupposition, Eren makes absolutely no sense. If he really, if no part of him wants to be stopped and he really wants to complete the rumbling with no reservation, then what he's doing makes absolutely no sense. And he's right about that. For my belief system, what he's doing makes perfect sense and is the action of a layered and conflicted character. I think that will be it for me. Thank you.
Okay, so make mine like 5 minutes. I think I should be done. Okay, you have time. Whatever, doesn't matter. Just keep it. I'll save and I'm done. Okay, so what I think Eren's character is, I guess, because it's important to conclusion. I think everyone understands that Eren is a bit of a contradictory character, and maybe that's because he has very conflicting desires. At the beginning of the story, he not at the beginning, but like was it chapter 108 or 9? I don't remember, but you know what I'm referring to. He said that he wanted his friends to live long, happy lives. Perfectly understandable, makes total sense. He cares about his friends, that's all okay. But then as the story progresses, he tries to kill his friends. Now, the proposition is that he's doing this on purpose, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But what I think is that he's a bit of has a conflicting desires where he wants his freedom, but his freedom will be interrupted by his friends, but he at the same time respects his friends. So the natural conclusion for the story should be that he has to make a choice, his friends or his freedom. At the end of the day, I don't think he made any choice. He decided to try to get both and ultimately ended up having nothing. I think that's what the story was about. And that's why he's a bit of a contradictory character. I don't think it makes much sense, but I can see this being the Simon's intent of the story, and therefore I will not try to rewrite the story to fit my belief system. It is how it is. That's all there is to it, I think. So I don't want to argue that much about Aaron's character because I don't think he kind of makes sense. But what I want to argue about is his so-called idea that he was not trying to kill his friends. Just to say, complete bullshit. Here's why. Look, you can look at the story. He completely tries to kill them, and I think at the end of the day, one thing is being overlooked about Eren is that, well, yes, he has conflicting desires. Well, yes, he doesn't really make a choice, but I feel like there's one important implication, 1 for 9, that he was born that way, and that is to fight. Which to me seems to be like maybe not subversion of his character, but more so just an attempt to show that Eren has become a twisted character, and his sense of freedom has become twisted to a point where he will kill his own friends just to achieve that freedom. But the plot twist is that he doesn't understand that freedom himself because he looks through freedom through Armin's eyes. He wants to feel the same sensation as Armin does through freedom, but he doesn't really know what that freedom is. Therefore, he used Armin's books to kind of cope with it, but it wasn't the case. Therefore, his whole freedom became meaningless, but he still wanted to fight for the freedom, but he didn't understand himself properly. I may not misunderstand the story at this point, and I'm pretty sure someone like Infamous understands this better than I do, so I'll probably listen to what he has saying, questions, and stuff like that. But for now, I think that's how the story kind of plays out. So that's why the story is kind of. There's intentional contradiction with Eren, but at the same time, there's contradictions that they don't make sense. And that's why I'm saying Parrot is trying to be saved. It doesn't make sense why he's not killing his friends or like trying to stop them. But at the same time, I can see why. I see that he's a contradictory character. His head is messed up. So that's all there is to it. At the end of the day, no matter how powerful he is, there was big emphasis that despite how powerful he is, he's still a human being with mistakes, that he will make dumb decisions because he tries to get both but ends up having nothing. I think that's perfectly reasonable statement. No, so and that's how Aaron's darker side is. He becomes twisted. At the end of the day, he kind of wants his freedom to prevail over his friends. That's why when Armin asks him in 1 for 9, was this really for them? He just turns away and doesn't answer that question. It kind of shows me that at the end of the day, perhaps his freedom was more important to him than his friends. Maybe not, who knows? Because at the end of the day, Mikasa kills him. But I think Mikasa killing him is not directly related to his freedom. It's just that one thing he cannot prevent. If he chooses to rumble, he cannot prevent this thing, and that's how I see it. That's all. And at the end of the day, I think Beluga's belief system is just an attempt to make a cheap belief system that doesn't contradict the story, but it does contradict the story. I see that he tries to have a belief system where there's no plot holes in the story, but there is, and he can cope with this. He can believe that belief system as much as he wants, but the story clearly implies otherwise. That's what I'm saying. I just think this is just a coping, and I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just saying the way I see it. It's just coping, and that's how I see the story. I have nothing else to add. You can end it here.
Okay. Q&A time. This is a Q&A portion, so if you want to ask questions, you can...
Yeah, you guys can unmute yourself and ask us questions. Please don't ask if boobs or ass, or I'll kill you.
Yeah, I will ban you for sexual content. I have complete control over this server. Do we really have no questions?
I mean, I don't know. We could do maybe Infamous has. I don't know. I'm pretty sure.
Infamous is typing. He should be. No, you have no.
Nothing.
You have no questions, Infamous. Really, you have no questions. You just woke up.
Okay, if no one.
Hold on.
I have opinions about the overall situation, but I don't have any questions for either of you. No.
Okay, so let's just okay, if no one has any questions, I guess we can just make a voting thing like we did it before, who won the debate. I guess you can just vote, and maybe we can be done with that.
Okay, I think I did add a bot today for that. Hold on.
Yeah.
You really have no questions, Infamous. All right. Who won? Velo. Everyone lost.
Wait,
Well, thumbs up is for Beluga, or
yeah. Sorry, I don't know how to fix that, but.
Okay, so I'm not gonna vote, obviously.
Yeah. That's dumb. It's dumb. I'm not gonna vote either. You can have it as a draw if you want. But if you think it's a draw, maybe you have a question you'd like to ask.
I mean, I'm not gonna pretend that I understand the story as much as I do. I think it doesn't make sense, so I'm just trying to understand the way it does, but it's whatever. To me, I don't care that much.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Farrago?
I just know for certain that Eren was trying to kill them, that's obvious. Everything else, it can be debatable for all we care.
You joined too late. Just ask any question. We have no questions. Any question is better than no question.
I mean, you can still just ask something for example, regarding ending, how is it ending, or Beluga or something. I don't know. You can ask whatever you want.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. There's no stupid questions. No. Farrago. No.
How was he fated to lose? I don't think he was fated to lose. I just think he made an action. And one action was that if he tries to rumble, Mikasa will die. Sorry, Mikasa will kill him. Sorry.
Or hey, hear me out. He could have put her in jail, and that would have solved that problem.
Yeah, Isama is not a good writer. We can agree. Yeah, no one understands the story. The only person that understands the story is Isayama, and I don't think he understood the story, so who cares, I guess.
If he's fated to lose, it doesn't matter if he goes all out. Yeah, he's not fated to lose, in the sense that you're talking about it. Proof understanding exists.
I mean, I still don't understand how fucking Eren didn't mean to kill them. It's obvious. It's such a code. I can't. I'm sorry, man. It's just such a code.
I mean, it's obvious to you. It's not that obvious to me. I'm gonna give my take on this post debate. You can do whatever you want, please. Even if you have no questions, unmute your mic and give your take. The timeline. Oh, I forgot he's a Hope Chat. You can try to.
Oh my god! Shut up about timelines. For fuck's sake.
In principle, with the entire topic of the debate to begin with, right? When you say that a part of Eren is okay with being stopped, that's true, but
thank you.
Only because he knows the future. And that's pretty much where that point ends. So your entire explanation, Beluga, to me made it feel like you didn't really understand. I hate saying this fucking name, but
my God,
no, it's fine. No, say it. No. You say whatever you want. Please, I implore you.
Pause for a second. It was clear to me, based off of your support and explanations for the initial premise, that your intent behind taking that stance was off base for why that actually happened, which is why I feel like you didn't win this particular debate.
Understandable. However, I actually do agree with you that he wanted to be stopped because of, well, partly because of the future he saw. But I was just trying to prove that he purposely left ends untied, so sort of working backwards. I couldn't just say he wanted to be stuck because he saw the future and leave it at that. I have to, prove why, and the proof is what the
So
actions he
that's
took.
no.
I think that's just more of a Isaima's attempt to make it so that they can win. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell was it intentional or not. I think that's where it boils down to. Can we actually answer was it intentional?
To make them live, or was it not?
What do you
Can you
mean?
actually answer that? I think that's where it boils down.
What
I
do you
don't
mean?
think it's kind of easy to tell that.
Oh, chicken.
I think both of you are right. I think it's a little weird because the whole idea of Aaron knowing the future creates this in canon explanation of plot armor. They don't die because he knows they won't die, and whether or not he's throwing stones at them or aiming at them is regardless because he knows how it's going to end. He could very well aim an arrow at them, knowing that they will miss or they will dodge it. It
Fuck, I
has
should have brought
no
that up.
meaning. But
Oh,
you're right because
that's
it's
yeah. I
simply
kind of said it yesterday to Beluga that I was saying that it's not like he wanted to be stopped or partly. It's more like that he just went along with it because he knows the future. I kind of said that, but at the same time, I didn't put much emphasis on that because I
he
don't
saw
think it matters that much.
yeah, he saw a certain outcome that he wanted to happen, and he simply just worked back. What actions and consequences that need to happen to achieve that outcome?
Oh
If
yeah,
that
that would be
means
true. Yeah,
if
that would be
that
true. But
means throwing
there's
his
problem
friends
though
in
to me.
jail or attacking them, or if that means keeping Gabby alive, then that will happen. But
Yeah, that's true. I
it
can see
really
that.
is. It's. I don't really like it because it's
No one
basically
does.
canonizing plot armor. It's like, oh, they don't die because he knows the future and he knows they won't die, so there's just no point in explaining why they live. It, it's kind of like there's no win-win argument in this. So technically, both of you
That's
are
kind of
right.
why I thought, what Volosha said was right, because the plot armor is the only reason that what happens, right? When Beluga's like pressing him about why Gabby or whomever like lives or Aaron doesn't do anything to stop them. I mean, reality of the situation is it's set up in such a contrived way that
Oh my
the
god.
main set of characters like are not at risk, unfortunately, and there's
It's just,
nothing really that Aaron could have done about that.
it kind of sucks when authors do this. Canonizing plot armor in the stories is like stupid. Star Wars
Yeah,
does that shit, and I don't like it
I
at
mean,
all.
for all I care, I could be wrong, and I'm not gonna like deny this idea that I could be wrong, but I'm just saying like when you clearly see that there's plot armor, you're not going anywhere with this. Like at least with Beluga's.
It's not like plot armor. I'm against it, but it's canonizing plot armor. Like there's an in-universe explanation on why there's plot armor. Like in Star Wars, the plot armor is it's the Force, and everything that makes absolutely no sense is because of the Force. Here, it's past. Aaron sees the future, so everything that happens, even though it doesn't make sense, it's oh well, he saw the future. That's what's going to happen. It's kind of stupid
I
and
mean, I feel
dumb.
like people look too much into future memories and determinism in general. Determinism, I don't think it changes as much. The only reason why it matters is because Aaron is able to see future memories and shit like that. But other than that, he's still that person
Right.
that will make. I feel like the story. I think if you were to ask Isama if future memories were never included, right? Would the story play out the same? And I
Right.
feel like
Of course it
maybe
would.
there would be slightly some differences, but I feel like it more or less would play
There
out the
would be no
same.
difference.
I think that would be the case
So,
here,
so,
and we
so
might
for
look on
that,
There would
future
be
memories too deep.
yeah,
no difference.
for that, for that, I would say is Aaron would have taken the same actions, but he would not know the
I
consequences.
think sort of, yeah. Maybe it would be slightly different. Maybe it would play out differently, but in
There's,
the end, it would be the same actions. Because, like, at the
yeah,
end of the day, future memories are not. He saw that there is no hope for Paradise
right.
left. That's why he rumbled.
Well,
That's already kind of big.
you
It
can't
doesn't really change
you
much to
can't
me.
say it would be the same action. So like out of universe, when we look at it as a deterministic story, right? The ending is the ending, and that's always what's going to happen. But when we have events from the future that influence the past, if Aaron never gets those memories, it's you can't like objectively say.
Oh no, I'm not saying objectively.
He,
Maybe
he
I'm just
wouldn't.
saying that it would have happened more or less the same, though. I
No, I
think
mean,
that's
I
all.
actually would argue completely against that because
Why?
him seeing the future directly informs why he acts the way he does at various points in the story. Even to like one of the points that you said where, he's in Marley and, contemplating about how they never found a way, right? He knows certain pieces of the future at that point once he's in Marley, right? And so that's why his thought is
Oh, I see
framed.
what you mean,
He
but
never knew, but what I'm saying
Yeah.
is if he never knew the future, he wouldn't be contemplating about we must have never found a way, right?
Yeah,
Because in
yeah,
his
yeah.
mind,
I see what you
it's
mean.
inevitably humble, right? So I don't think it's reasonable to say it would play out the same because the future directly influences the choices of the past or the present based off of whoever we're.
Yeah, but at the same time,
Strange.
I don't know how much I can argue against that or with, because I feel like chapter 123 would happen anyways, and he would still see that Paradise is being dehumanized, and they would still be target. I think because it's Aaron who is as a person. That's what determines, I think, mostly him as a person. It's
Well,
Aaron. He's gonna
yeah,
fight there, so
I'm
I
not
feel like he
saying
would
he wouldn't
still
crumble
take the
though.
choice.
What influences is that he would not have gone back and stayed with Marley, gone to Marley and stayed there for 4 years or whatever, or six
I mean,
months or
maybe
whatever.
things would
Like
play
he
out
would have
slightly
trusted his
differently,
friends.
but I think Rumble would have happened anyways. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, it's
I
I
think he would have followed Zeke's plan or something.
What?
I think he would have trusted his friends. Well,
Nah,
not
nah.
complete, like, well, maybe not Zeke's plans, but like not in the sense of what you're thinking. I think he would have been more like he wouldn't have gone out on his own. He still would have trusted his friends if he didn't have future memories.
honestly, the story just changes if he doesn't have future memories because
Yeah.
there's no
No.
guarantee if he doesn't know the future that he's going to inevitably go to paths with Zeke, right? That event's not a guarantee,
It's true.
right? Like, so much hinges on like this plot point that I don't think it's worth discussing the alternative, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I just have my opinion. I think it would play out sort of the same. Not saying exactly every single decision would be the same, but I think that the end result would be more or less the same. That's what I'm saying. Whatever it's true or not, I can't prove it, disprove, nor does it really matter that much.
Yeah.
I mean, like again, the problem just comes from the fact that even when Historia and her dad touches back, right, and he gets the glimpse of the Grisha memories from the cave, right,
Yeah.
that doesn't happen unless, again, the whole plot point where he inevitably goes to paths happens. So like the story just, I don't know, the story just changes because
Yeah.
he doesn't get memories from Aaron unless he goes to pass inevitably. But if we can't pass future memories back if that doesn't happen, right? So if we remove
Well,
that completely, it's just a different
the
story.
the fact that Grisha gives Aaron the Titan power because of future Aaron. Like, that one happened.
Right, like it
They
just
go with the entire
totally
story.
challenges the entire story.
Me and Beluga, I have one question. It's not really related to the topic, but like, do you think that Attack on Titan is convoluted or not? Like, at least the last
No.
arc, is it got a bit convoluted? Don't you? What do you think about
Makes
that?
perfect sense to me. Well, no,
Okay, I
no,
see.
no, not perfect sense. There are some things that I'm like, that's kind of strange, but overall makes a lot of sense. It takes a lot of brain power
Oh.
to study, but I mean,
Okay, so what I think, like, regarding is it convoluted or not, it's kind of yes and no, because I
It's
feel like
convoluted 'cause
if
you-
you're
'cause
someone
you
that's
refuse
gonna
to
read the
acknowledge
story
the
for the
truth.
first time, right, you might have confusion and what the fuck actually happened slightly, I think. I feel like just because like a lot of people misunderstand the story and they have to read twice to check what the fuck happened, I think the story is a bit convoluted in that sense. And even now, when
No.
even in read the story a bit like 2 3 times, you can kind of notice that there's some obvious plot armor, some contradictions that it's not really because Aaron is that character or something, but because okay, you can see that this was a bit of a yikes from Yusamo's part, and I feel like that's where convolution comes in. If you
Yeah,
disagree, that's fine with me though.
I don't.
I have to agree. Like, how and what happens, I understand, but the reasoning behind it, or the
Yeah,
morality
exactly.
of
The
it,
reason
is
behind it
convoluted.
is a bit dumb sometimes, and you can
Yeah.
sometimes it makes perfect sense, and sometimes it just goes into like such a convoluted area where you think, wait, what the fuck? That doesn't make sense. And then
Especially
you
with
talk with
the paths, the path
yeah,
powers, like how that works. That's just like he kind of just breaks his own rules sometimes.
So that's why I hate this idea. Oh, I understand the ending. Bullshit. I think it's just fucking bullshit. You don't understand it perfectly, and no one does. Except maybe for Isayama, because the story is a bit convoluted in that area.
There's three pieces to that, though, right? So when you talk about past, I think the first problem with past is a lot of things that Aaron does in past, like in universe, we don't actually see as the reader or the viewer, right? Like all this
Yeah.
stuff he does, that's just pretty much telegraphed to us, like in very subtle ways, and it's not clear why that happens.
Yeah, it's also like not established the path. Like they don't have proper rules, and like there's no limits in a sense
And
as well.
then,
Which
you know, we're forced into dealing with the entire rumbling arc, and we don't get the explanation for most of it until the very end, which inherently makes the last arc hard to follow. Because you can ask these questions: why didn't Aaron just kill them? You know, like amidst.
I mean, it is a mystery story. I don't really see a problem with that.
Yeah,
which is fine, but it's hard to
Yeah.
follow, like when reading it until you get to the end, and then once you get to 139, besides the problems with the dialogue, the explanations themselves, you know, even them being what they are, like even the determinism aspect, isn't convincing, like the way it was conveyed or written or
yeah,
explained.
I agree with that.
Which makes it very difficult. Which is why we have people coping to this day about it, because it's very hard to accept. Not that convincing.
I think
Even though it's
Isayama wrote himself into a corner with genocide. I think he was kind of he knew that he had to bring the rumbling into the story because he's hyped it up. But then he wrote himself in a corner with genocide, and he knows that fans want a certain ending, so he tries to contrive it, but it just bad execution.
Genocide isn't the corner he wrote himself into. He wrote himself into a corner by making the founding titan too strong.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that too.
Like, and so when you're in a situation where, you know, and again, I think the problems with the story go back to Marley, right? When you want to flip the script on perspective and, you know, try to make the entire story seem morally gray, that is to say there's no good guys or bad guys really. People just do what they do because it, you know, meets their certain set of circumstances. You really have to justify at the end why one side wins, you know, if
Yeah.
that's going to be the inevitable outcome. And it makes it difficult to do that when you set up the protagonist turned antagonist to be someone that's so overpowered that there's no way to beat them, that you literally have
Right.
to contrive nonsense that's not even believable to stop them, such as, I'm not going to take your freedom away. I'm not going to, you know, do X, Y, and Z that would, you know, clearly work out in my favor. And it kind of makes it hard to understand why, like, him saying it's in his nature to rumble, which it is, right? But it makes it hard to reconcile that with that fact, right? Because if it
Yeah.
really is in his nature, it should have never turned out like this, in my opinion. And I'm not
Yeah.
even or anything like
I
that.
also have one point that, like, maybe it's not that big of a point, but I feel like when you look at Attack on Titan, the way it was written in the past, I feel like, you know, most of the time, what happened was understandable, and the reasoning behind it was very much understandable. Nothing felt forced or out of character, you know, convoluted. And now that we
Yeah.
have the last arc, it definitely shifts into a different area where it becomes a bit convoluted. And I feel like it's kind of undeniable.
I think it's just because Isayama's not a writer that deals with characters, but more mystery and story. Like the first three seasons was uncovering or unraveling this mystery of the world, and he was really good at doing that. But I think dealing with characters and then making them all gray, but then somehow having a moral
There was still
ending.
some mystery though. Like Eren was kind of mysterious, like for the most of the story.
But like the
But
last
it's not the
arc,
same. I agree. It's not the same.
the last arc. I'm talking about the last arc.
Okay, fair
I
enough.
liked the paths arc and like the reveal there. I really think that was amazing. But the last arc, where you have supposedly taken all these morally great characters, but then force a good ending, a morally good ending, kind of is just you just lose the meaning of the story.
Yeah, and where he flops on this too is, and I mean, I think he's even said this in interviews, right? Like,